Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Disability Pride Philadelphia. We are so excited tonight to have Maysoon Zayid here with us. We just love her. She makes me laugh no matter what. So I am super excited. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Vicki.
We're so excited to have you here. People have been talking about this all day.
That's awesome. Okay, so shall we get this party started?
Yes, please.
All right. Hello, Disability Pride. My name is Maysoon Zayid. And for those of you who do not know me, I'm not drunk, but the doctor who delivered me was. So as a result, I have cerebral palsy. For those of you who don't know what cerebral palsy is, it's a neurological disorder and it manifests itself differently in everyone. In my case, I shake all the time. So I shake it, shake it, shake it, like Taylor Swift. But she just wants to shake, 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 and mine is totally involuntary. I did a TED Talk in 2014, and I started off by saying, I got 99 problems and palsy is just one. In the oppression Olympics, I would win a gold medal. I am Palestinian, Muslim, a woman of color, disabled, and I live in New Jersey. If you don't feel better about yourself, maybe you should. I like to share my origin story so that people know who I am. Because you know, like superheroes have origin stories, I'm a super crip. So I also have an origin story. And when I was born, the doctors who delivered me said that I would never walk. Now, let me be very clear. There is absolutely no shame in not walking or using any mobility device you feel frees you. I so often read in print and on blogs the term wheelchair bound. Wheelchairs do not bind, they free. And you know what else? I'm going to tell you all a secret. It's okay to optionally use a wheelchair. I can literally run up on stage in stilettos one night and the next day in the airport need a wheelchair because I can't stand up. I'm not faking it. I should not be shamed. You should not ever deny yourself accommodations because of fear of what others will think. Do not cause yourself pain because others disapprove. Do what you need to do to be the best you that you can be. But when I was growing up, it was years before the ADA. I know, it's unbelievable that I am older than the ADA, but CP don't crack. It's true. So my dad was determined to teach me how to walk, and he had two techniques. His first was to put my feet on his feet and just walk. I walked miles on that man's shoes. His second technique was to dangle a dollar bill in front of me and have me chase it. My inner stripper was so strong, I was running in stilettos by kindergarten. Now, there are other perks to being palsy, and one of them is the fact that we don't have to stand online. And prior to there being a deadly pandemic, the best place to not stand online was Disney. I used to go on Space Mountain like 15 times as a kid. And I would come out to the line and I'd find a kid that was just like a tomato in the sun, just sweating under the sign that said 2-hour wait from here. And I'd be like, hang in there, kid. It's totally worth it. I just went on Space Mountain 15 times. Don't you wish you were disabled now? So there was another ride that I loved even more. It was called the teacups. You would sit in a giant teacup and spin. And when I got off of those teacups, I would walk straight for like 6 minutes. And I was like, oh my God, this really is the most magical place on earth. But it all went bad. it all went bad. A bunch of non-disabled parents started renting disabled people so that they could cut the line at Disney. And they got caught. And now none of us are allowed to cut the line. And it was no longer the happiest place on earth. Now it's the deadliest place on earth, but at the time, no longer the happiest place on earth. And I just wish I could have been one of those tour guides before they got caught, because I would have made it a teachable moment. I would have taken the children away from their parents, and I've been like, hi, Timmy and Sally. I wouldn't care what their names actually were. I would just call them Timmy and Sally. And I'd be like, hey, Timmy and Sally, mommy and daddy did a very, very bad thing. And you're just one little accident away from being just like me. So hold on tight, kids. Now who wants to go on Space Mountain? Disability is the one group you can join at any time, whether you want to or not. Disability does not discriminate. You are welcome regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender, or economic class. Everyone can sit with us. And I kind of think that the world needs to be more like disability. I've had the same best friend since I was 5 years old. I grew up in a town with 33,000 Italian Catholics and 6 Arabs who were all my family. But I was never bullied. I was never made fun of. My best friend would take me to midnight mass on Christmas Eve, and she'd be like, she is from where Jesus is from. And I'd be like, I'm from Jersey. But that's not the reality of kids with disabilities today, is it? A lot of you listening right now have been mercilessly bullied. I was never bullied as a kid. I was taught that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And that is simply not true. Words matter. Never be the person who causes another human being to harm themselves. If you feel the need to spew hate online, Google cats on glass tables instead. You will thank me. Don't be an internet troll, and don't raise an internet troll. Tina and I grew up, that's my best friend's name, and when I turned 21, I became her designated driver. Yes, disabled people can sometimes drive. I happen to be an excellent driver, and it was a really bad idea for Tina to have me be her designated driver. The reason that she chose me was because Muslims don't drink, or at least we don't admit to it on social media. So every time the police would pull me over, they would think I was wasted. So they'd come to the car and I'd be like, hey, and they'd be like, are you drunk? And I'd be like, no, I am not drunk. I am differently abled. Now, don't ever actually use that in real life. Differently abled, special needs. Say the word, disabled. Our needs are not special, they're just needs. I don't have different abilities. It's not like I'm suddenly Wonder Woman and I can, lasso people. I just have needs. Say the word disabled. But I'm trying to get out of the ticket, and I'm not drunk while I'm driving. So the police would then say to me, we're gonna need you to walk a straight line. And I'd be like, well, it'll be a miracle if I can, let's do this, Allahu Akbar. So what I did was I learned how to sing the alphabet backwards instead. So I'd be like, ZYXUVT. And they were so impressed. They would slow clap like the end of the movie Rudy. And they'd be like, you go, girl. And I'd drive off into the sunset. And what I didn't realize was that I was lucky. I was lucky. 50% of all Americans killed by law enforcement are disabled. 50%. So I would like to spend the next half of this amazing opportunity that Disability Pride has given me to hang out with you all, giving disabled people some advice they don't want to hear, and those who love disabled people some advice they don't want to hear. So, my disabled friends, I'm going to start, my disabled comrades in shaky arms, I'm going to start with you. I hear things. I hear live things. One of the things I hear is that you're bullied. The other thing that I hear is that you're undateable. And the final thing that I hear is that you're mercilessly discriminated against in school and in work. So I'm going to give you some advice, some weapons, some ways to battle the challenges that you face. Number one, if you cannot find anyone to cheer for you, cheer for yourself. Be the person you want to be. Create that person. Believe in it. Do not let anybody define you. Only you get to define you. When I got my first television gig ever, it was on a news program called Countdown with Keith Olbermann. Primetime, MSNBC, one of the top rated shows on cable news. And I went on the first time ever, and I limped into the studio, and they sat me on a spinning, rolling chair with one camera in my face. So I asked the production assistant who was in the room with me if I could get a more stable chair. And she looked at me and went, 5, 4, 3, and we were doing it live. So I made my national television debut sitting and spinning on a chair, desperately trying not to roll off screen. And I was livid because I had spent a decade trying to prove that disabled people could do the same, if not better job than their non-disabled peers. People with disabilities are 20% of the population, but we are only 2% of the images that you see in media. And of those 2%, 95% are played by non-disabled actors, and we actually have no idea how many disabled talent are on our screens because the stigma against invisible disabilities is so strong that even celebrities fear revealing their disabled status when they have something like lupus or fibromyalgia, chronic pain, mental health issues, or depression. If you can't see it, you can't be it. If every image that disabled kids see on TV is miraculously healed when they're strutting down the red carpet, what you're telling us is we are not welcome. It is time for Hollywood to give the disabled community a seat at the table. Disabilities win awards, and it is our turn to reap what we sow. Nothing without us, about us, and no excuses. Here's my advice to casting directors. Are you worried about casting a disabled actor to play a disabled role because you don't think that the disabled actor can handle it? Guess what? You wrote the role wrong if I can't play the person that has the same disability that I do. Are you thinking There's no one that talented out there. Yes, there is. We exist. And the Casting Society of America actually has like 800 of us on file. Do your homework and you can find us. Oh, but it's acting. Why can't someone non-disabled act disabled? You can act anything. BS. Denzel Washington is not playing Hillary Clinton in a biopic. And if a wheelchair user can't play Beyonce, then Beyonce can't play a wheelchair user, and she can do anything. Next question is, what do I do if the character starts out as non-disabled and becomes disabled? Now, the one time you get a pass is if that happens in the last 1/100th of the show or movie. But if you have 5 minutes of a character being non-disabled and an entire movie of them being disabled, guess what? Just like you can use CGI to disappear legs, you can use CGI to add legs. There are always ways using movie magic to include authentic, non-offensive representations of disability told by disabled people. My next piece of advice to my disabled brothers and sisters on this day of Pride in July in a pandemic where we're being told that we're saving every day, is that marriage is a racket and you must avoid it at all costs. People who are married are just trying to suck you down into their hell. They have worked so hard on this. They got the LGBTQ community to fight for their right to be tortured too. And thank Allah they have it. If you must get married, do not get married before you are 27. Your brain is still smushy. You can't make a big decision like that. Marriage is a life sentence. You have to choose your cellmate wisely. Also, if you must get married, don't marry your cousin. The #1 avoidable cause of disability globally is cousin love. It was okay to marry your cousin when you had to ride a llama for 5 days to find someone you weren't related to. We now have Tinder. Swipe left. You want a family tree, not a family wreath. And finally, marry an orphan. The rest come with families, and you don't want that. Nobody ever warns you. Marriage is tough. One of the hardest things is that your partner, their habits, they get really annoying when you're looking down the barrel of like 40, 50 years. You know, like, for example, the breathing. It never stops. It's like inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. I'm like, my God, can you please stop? I did for 5 minutes and look how great I turned out. I think people should avoid marriage at all costs. However, I do not think that we should live in a country where disabled people do not have an equal right to get married without having their lives destroyed. I don't think that we should live in a country where disabled people can't get married without getting permission of a caretaker who might be abusive. Marriage is inaccessible to too many disabled people, and we have to fight for that equal right to be tortured too. Parents with children who are disabled, I have some advice for you. Now, first of all, let me differentiate. I'm not talking to disabled parents right now. Yes, it's true. Disabled people are not happy snowflake angel babies. We grow up, we have sex, and sometimes we have kids. And guess what? It is perfectly okay to pass your disability onto your child if that's what you choose. Don't believe them when they say that it's cruel to have a deaf child or a child that has any disability that you live with. It is your choice. You have a right. But never, ever ask any other person if they have kids. I know it's like the most common question, right? First thing you ask is, are you married? Valid question. You might be interested in doing the horizontal tango and you don't want to be an adulterer. Next question out of everybody's mouth is, do you have kids? Stop asking that. If you don't know if the person you're talking to has a child, it is none of your business. You have no idea what the person across from you has been through. Maybe they had a miscarriage that morning. Maybe they can't afford another round of failed IVF. Maybe their child was one of the too many shot down in our American schools. Or maybe, just maybe, they don't want to have a kid. Maybe they want to have a cat named Beyonce. Did you ever think about that? No, you didn't. There's something even more important that you should never ask another human being. Never ask anyone if they are pregnant unless you see a skull coming out from between their legs. Then Karens, do your thing and call 911. So back to the parents. To parents with children with disabilities, I'm going to be super real with you right now. You're not disabled. I know you love your child. I know that a lot of you are doing the best that you can. I know that some of you are not. I know that there's a day of mourning for people with disabilities that have been killed by their caretakers. And I know that needs to end. I know that we need to stop having sympathy for caretakers who kill their children by excusing it in news stories, by saying they were at the end of their rope. They did what they thought was best. There is no mercy in murder, and disability does not change that. But the majority of parents of disabled kids are doing their best. But sometimes the best intentions are dangerous. So this is what I want to share with you. Please don't be a martyr. I know we need to vent. Find your people and vent to them in private. Don't call your child a burden online. Don't show how much sacrifice you've made to be the parent of a disabled child. Your child will grow up. They will know what you wrote. I grew up in a time where there was no social media, and I promise you, I would have been devastated if my parents shared my most private moments without my permission. Yes, I know all mom and dads share their kids' milestones. Think to yourself, how does my child's disability change this? If it's just another milestone, share it. But if it's something that might reveal something more private, leave it for your child to decide when they can consent if they want to share those moments with the world. Talk to adults with disability. We live on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Twitch. You can find us. Find an adult that has the same disability as your child and learn from us. Don't be afraid of us. We're going to challenge you. We're going to remind them that they're not babies, that you have to let them become adults, that the goal is always to strive for independence, for home and community-based services. Give your child the chance to excel. Allow them to fail like any other child would, and accept when they can't. Your child doesn't have to be like any other child with a disability. Let them be who they can be, not who you want them to be. cheer them on, challenge them, support them, and listen to the people who have limped before them. I want to end this by thanking my amazing interpreter, Mimi. Yay, Mimi. I want to also thank Philadelphia Disability Pride PA for including me. And I want to remind everyone that anything that I say is not their fault. I am an independent comic doing my thing tonight, so nobody get mad at them for what's about to come out of my mouth. This is the most dangerous time for disabled people in my lifetime. In the United States of America, we are being stripped of our education. We are facing immeasurable violence, and we are facing discrimination and bigotry. The disabled community is intersectional, and when minorities are under siege, we are under siege. But our lives are in danger globally. There is a pandemic that has disproportionately affected our community, and an outside world that doesn't necessarily think that we are better off alive than dead. Your lives are worth living. The world is broken, but we can fix it. We can fix it by saying no. Say no to arming violence say no to arming violence worldwide, and say no to violence against women. Say no to being an internet troll, and say no to raising an internet troll. Say no to your voice being silenced. Your vote in America is your weapon against injustice. I beg you, use it so that we can celebrate Disability Pride next year. My name is Maysoon Zayid, and if I can, you can. Thank you, Disability Pride. Thank you.
Thank you, Maysoon. It was amazing. Thank you. I just love what you have to say always. Thank you to Mimi and to Brandy and to Missy, our captioner. We're so happy to have everybody here. We're so glad you came out to see Maysoon. We had so many people join us tonight. What an amazing evening. And we are so glad that everybody is staying safe, is able to be a part of what is going on with us. Disability Pride Virtual PA is about halfway through, and we still have 2 full weeks of fun, entertainment, important issues, and we hope to see you at all of the events. Thank you. Thank you again. Love you all, and see you tomorrow.